All right. Let me talk about God. Remember I told you that it's not just holiness? I mean, we are concerned about our major doctrine, but friends, you have to be concerned about the whole picture, okay? If we don't worship God, the real God of the Bible, we're way off, okay? And this is where it's leading. For example, what have they done with that sentence, God is love? They've reversed it. They're saying love is God. And I mean with a little g. It's not real God. This idea we formed of God, which we only want, which is love, is God. That's what they're doing in short. And so what they're saying is, God can't exist in the Trinity. This is going to get a little philosophical, but this is why they want to stress his threeness. He has to exist in a web of relationships because he has to be loving. See, love makes him God. He can't be one. He can't be self-existent. He can't be the only one in the universe. So guess what they do with creation? We've been here all along. Guess where evolution fit right into this? Matter of fact, evolution is the forming thinking of this whole concept. It's been traveling for centuries. The concept of, of evolution. This world is eternal. You're eternal. Now, friends, it's not just God has to have that little party going up in heaven between the Trinity members to exist. The worst part of it is he needs you and me to exist. Because unless he's loving us, he doesn't exist. That's what these guys mean by that. You see the concept? That's not what we believe in historical Christianity. We believe there is a God who's sovereign over a world that wasn't there until he spoke it into existence. All right? And he doesn't need you or me at all, but he chose to need us. That's what's so awesome about prayer. He chose to need us, but in a limited sense. He's always in charge. All right? But this is the idea. This is how love, this is the stuff that some of these guys are doing. When it boils down to the plan of salvation, do you think you need Jesus? He's not God. Historically speaking, from their perspective, he's a man. And he's becoming God. Let's go on to a couple slides here. Listen to this. Here's their definition of God the Father. Thomas Oden, a better theologian of our day, not from our denomination, but still, right? He wrote a book on Christ called The Word of Life, 1989. He says, if the redeeming purpose, here's it is, if grace is going to exist, it's fully intentional in God before creation. If he had it all figured out, the notion of a growing God, see friends, they got process on the brain. They think that God himself is in process. They think creation's still going on. They think there's never a finished work. Do you think you need a salvation work? Something God can only do in your life to bring you? Do you think there's a such thing as a saint or a sinner? It's all blend together. You think you need to have a second definite work of grace? There's no place for that in this philosophical system. You are never completed. Nothing is finished. Nothing. I have a direct quote at the end of this from a process theologian where he says there's nothing you can say in this world that has happened that you could say God did alone. I don't read about anybody else on page 1 of Genesis. We weren't there, okay? But anyway, the notion of a growing God or gradually historically developing maturity in God is made problematic. It's trouble. Jews and Christians do not view God as increasing in justice and struggling to develop mercy or growing in knowledge. Justice, mercy, and knowing are already incomparably great in God. He is ultimately all good already. He doesn't need our help to be that. He doesn't need love's help. He is it. All right? Justice, mercy, and knowing are already incomparably great in God from the beginning, on this basis ever being expressed actively and responsively in each succeeding temporal situation. For nothing can be added to that which is full. He is full. He's the fullness of being, the ultimate existence. Go ahead. Here's what they do with Jesus. Did Jesus gradually become God? Is he just a good human who earned his way up to that? That's what their idea is of Jesus. The idea is not that a particular man comes near and near to God in process until being filled with increasing divine abilities or powers gradually becomes so conjoined with God as to become God. You want to know why we're having conversation in Wesleyan circles about whether it's all right to be a homosexual or not? Because of this very stress. We've gotten to the point where there's no defining line. When you open up the book, the dialogue book of H. Ray Dunning, one of our next theologians after Wynkoop popularized that book on love, popularized it. In that, he says, theology is a dialogue. You'll hear that word. When